Having kids sounds great, but doing whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do, sounds better.
We live?
We live.
We live. Welcome back to the Opinion Factory Podcast, the podcast for free thinkers and challenge seekers.
Yes, sir.
I'm Khelil.
I'm Alex. 2020, man. Crazy year. And if there's one thing with coronavirus and remote learning really made me appreciate, man, I'm so happy I don't have kids.
Oh.
I'm so happy I do not have kids right now.
Imagine like being in the quarantine, but you had like kids all the time.
Oh, man. No break ever. It's just you, your kids. You gotta make sure they're in school with their cameras on. Who knows how wild they're acting. And those remote classes, Zoom bombs and everything.
And I have a friend who was a kid, and she was like, he's just bored.
Yeah.
Because Zoom is not that engaging, and he's bored with his Xbox because he plays it all day. It's not new and exciting no more.
Imagine you had like a 4-year-old or 5-year-old, like one of the ones that can't read yet, and they got that remote learning, like kindergarten. Oh, my God.
That'd be horrible. Well, I want to be careful with that because I saw this post. All right, it's funny you said that. I saw a post the other day, and it was on Reddit. It was a life pro tip: if you're in quarantine and you got kids, don't go on social media complaining about it because these kids are very social media savvy and they can see it.
Oh, okay, I got
And
you.
they're like, and it was a teacher saying that since like, you know how many kids have come up to or like who've come up to me like 12, 13, 10 years old saying that, their parents don't like them no more, saying that they feel like a burden. And every time that, they ask for help with the homework, the parent got to go get a glass of wine first, making the kid feel like shit. And it's like I know kids are a burden, but, spend that time with them. Don't complain about them on social media. And if you weren't ready for
that time with them, bro.
And if you weren't ready for kids, and if
It's
you
not
don't
about
like
not being ready, man. Shit, you're there. They're there all the time.
Okay.
It's your responsibility there all the time. At least you go to work. I mean, like, you might have the most fun job. At least you get a break, fam. At least you get a break from parenting. There's no break from parenting. You're a parent 24/7. There's no end in sight, bro.
I can't speak to how bad that might be.
We can't even go outside anymore. We can barely go outside. Where can you go?
Out to eat?
Yes, out to eat, out to restaurants, out to, like, movies, all the stuff, that you could be a break, go to the gym. There's all these rules and regulations about
I don't want to be the one to give you advice on how to parent. Like, this is time to get to know your kids and, take them to the park, get to know their hopes and dreams, how they really are, what their personalities are like.
I already know all that stuff.
Oh, no, you don't.
I do.
Well, maybe you don't. Like, were you able to, like, be yourself around your parents? Like, your regular, silly, joking all the time, corny ass, like, dirty jokes ass self?
I'm not saying no dirty jokes around my parents.
You can't. Not, like, with your friends.
I mean, obviously, it's a different
Right,
relationship.
so there's a big part of your personality that your parents probably don't know.
And it's probably that way for a reason.
But now that we're all here together.
I found out I hate that personality too. It's like, yeah. Now what?
I don't know, man. I just feel like, that made me think. And there's another post that I saw. I'm going to bring that up later. But that made me think, like, if you're not ready for kids.
It's not about not being ready.
I know this particular thing about quarantine and stuff isn't about not being ready. But it made me think, like, maybe some people just aren't meant to have kids. Because I don't think everyone's complaining about their kids right now.
Not everyone's complaining about their kids, but a lot of people are, though.
Right.
A lot of people are like, yo, this remote learning thing, like...
Well, that's complaining about remote learning and how it's not engaging and stuff
it's not only that the kid's there all the time. Like, you're around your kid all the time. Man, a kid's a lot of work, fam. A kid is like a lot of... It's like having 2 jobs.
By the way, I want to make it clear that if you are having a hard time with your kids in quarantine, that does not mean that you should not have had kids. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that post made me think about people who maybe you, maybe not, should not have kids.
See, I've always wanted to have kids, right? This just makes you like... There's a really... I don't know what comedian said this, but it's like a really famous comedian. She's a comedian. Don't know her name. It might be like Sarah Silverman or something.
Okay.
But she's like, having kids sounds great, but doing whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do, sounds better. And it's like, it's kind of true, fam. To a point, that is kind of true. Like, I don't have kids yet, so I can't, elaborate on the joys of fatherhood, right? But, like, if I'm here, I'm like, yo, we both got money. Let's go on vacation this week. nah, damn, man, I gotta go out with my kids. You got a soccer game tomorrow, and
Man, you got money.
I gotta go back. I gotta go
babysitter.
back to school shopping, or like, you know what I'm saying.
If you got money
It's
for
like-
an
it's
impromptu
not-
vacation like that, you can pay for a babysitter for a
Man,
week.
it's a lot of logistics you gotta go through, man.
It is.
It's a lot of like you have to find somebody to babysit. You gotta make sure the babysitter is trustworthy. Like I'm assuming you're not a shitty ass parent. So if like I want to make sure the baby's like is a babysitter that's trustworthy,
Right,
one
or
that I feel
family.
like- you think family's gonna always want to take your kids on the
That's
weekends?
not true.
Creates a lot of tension. My
And not
boy.
every family member is a trustworthy babysitter.
I mean, even assuming, all right, yeah, true. But let's assume that they are.
Okay.
Yo, you think you're gonna want to babysit your little nephew every single week, every single weekend?
Just because you felt like going
Huh?
to Japan?
How many grandmothers have you heard of complain about
Not many.
Complain about
Grandmothers?
yeah.
They want the
grandmothers
babies every chance they get.
They do. But how many grandmothers have you heard complain? I heard a lot of grandmothers complain about their children, but like they just drop them on me every weekend. Just go do whatever the hell they want to do. I mean,
All right,
it's
I can't lie. I've heard that. I've heard that
you know what I'm
before.
saying?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm kind of like I need to have the option to have kids, but it just made me rethink it. Like I'm like doing like
I get what Sarah Silverman or whoever that comedian is trying to say.
I can just go wherever. I can do what I want.
There's a time for that, and then there's a time when you got to put that down.
What do you mean? Time to do whatever you want now?
Yeah. I feel like if you want the freedom that comes with, being able to go on vacation whenever you want, you can stay overnight somewhere else if you want to. Just get a hotel if you felt like going to Rhode Island and just stay in there, whatever. There's a time for that, for sure. But I feel like after a while, you want something more, something different. I feel like that's where kids come in. If you have kids before you get to experience that freedom, then I feel like that's where you're going to resent
Well, where's
them.
the need for kids though? Like, why is that something more another human being?
When you start getting older,
Yeah.
I'm just at the cusp of this. All right, I cannot speak to this in depth. I'm at the cusp of this, but
Go ahead.
it is something that's been on my mind. I'm in my mid-20s.
Uh-huh.
When you start getting older, and you start to realize, as I don't want to say especially as a man, but that's my perspective, probably especially as a man, that everything that you've worked for will eventually fade. Nothing that you have right now is something that you can count on you having in the future. You can put in a lot of work into something and it will die. Whether you're Jeff Bezos, whether you're me.
Yeah.
If you have a child, that, obviously the child's going to die, but that is a lasting legacy that has the opportunity to carry a piece of you down indefinitely. And if you want to leave something in the world that has the best chance of lasting, and that has a piece of you, or the best parts of you, I feel like right now, a child is probably the closest thing you can have to that. Not a business, not a house. You know what I mean? But maybe a child is.
I mean, you kind of brought up if you bring up the business thing, maybe, but you can groom and mentor a successor if you're Bezos, right? You can have a successor that you've been teaching for 20 or 30 years.
Sure.
Or maybe even 10 or 5 years, and be like, yo, you're going to be the guy that takes over.
And
Keep
in
my
that
name,
situation,
Amazon.
is Amazon the legacy? So he
Yeah,
has someone
that's
that...
your legacy. Your business is your legacy, or just the way you treat people could be. Like, why does your impact on the world have to be your kid instead of like all the things you've accomplished? Even if those things do fade, it's like my legacy is everything that I've done and accomplished through my life. It's the way I've treated other people. It's the way I maneuvered and helped others. It's the way I took care of my business. It's the way I went to work every day. Or that could be your legacy.
That's definitely part of it.
So, and then what if you have a kid that's just a fuck up and it's like, oh damn, like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, your kid's a drunk. He's a crackhead. He's a rapist or something. Like,
that's really tragic.
That could tarnish your legacy. Like, it could go both ways here, fam.
It could, but
why can't your legacy just be you?
It will be you for a while. After you die, I'm thinking about this now. Think of Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any kids as far as I know.
His legacy's gonna live a very long time.
But he has a very strong legacy.
Yeah. But he's also famous. Like,
right, but he's an artist.
Yeah.
And given that we're not in Fahrenheit 451, where all the books and media gets burnt and all that stuff, and that's something that's gonna last for a long time. Indeed. And so he definitely has a legacy.
Yeah.
For those non-artists, non-famous artists, right? If you want something, I feel like, all right, if you want something that's gonna last, bro. Like that's you ask why I have kids versus anything else. It's because of the lasting impact and that remembrance. I'm gonna be forgotten eventually when I die. Like me myself, I don't know who my great grandfather was.
Everyone is forgotten. Exactly, you don't know who your great grandfather was.
Right, but I'm his living legacy. He had an impact in this world that is still having an impact to this day. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here.
I get what you're saying. Like that, but like you said, you don't know. Like,
his legacy is still going on. Is everyone
gonna think about him and his legacy? Like, no, it's just.
But you don't think it's a good feeling to know that even if your name might not be remembered, there's something happening in 2157, in the year 2157, there's something happening that you had a direct hand in.
But how don't you know that you could have direct impact on like your nephew, and then he, like, you know what I'm saying? There's other ways to carry legacies. Like, people all often talk about like the best teachers they had in life, right? How those teachers impacted their life, and now those teachings that impacted the student's life is going to impact whoever comes after that student, and all the people he interacts with, right? And that same student, that same interaction will keep passing down and down,
right? And so the teachers are blessed.
But it's not just teachers though. It's just like it could be anybody though. It could be like your basketball coach. It could be anybody.
It could be, and that's why. And that's why, like, I'm more open to adoption than I feel like a lot of people are, because I feel like the reason why I want children is for that specific thing, for a legacy. Like, you know, it would be nice if, you know, they have my blood, if they have my name. Well, they're gonna have my name anyways if they have my blood. Yeah. But if there's someone that I can instill the best parts of me into, right, just like a teacher, I feel like then that's good. That's good enough for me.
It's great. But just because you instill the best parts of you in there doesn't mean you don't get the worst parts of somebody else. And what do you get? Right, you're not the exact same.
Well, we can say that for every type of legacy.
You can't say that. So that's why just directly tying it to a bloodline can be tricky. You know,
right? But
like, what if you just like your kid's just an average kid, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, it doesn't
like me.
Like, yeah, exactly. Nothing spectacular. Like, not famous.
Right.
Not super rich. You know, has regular day-to-day interactions that 95% of people do.
That's fine.
Which is fine, yeah.
Right.
But it's like, what's the difference between that and you and your legacy? Like, between your kid and you, if y'all both live the same exact lifestyle and all this type of stuff,
is the fact that I'm gonna die.
Yes.
This kid is my best chance of continuing on what I started. That's it. That's it. I'm not saying kids are the best type of legacy. Obviously, they can be corrupted, much like Amazon could be corrupted, much like, you know, a house could get destroyed if the house is your legacy.
Of course.
I don't know about movies and like music and art like that.
Yeah.
That's timeless, I want to say. Unless like in 2157, you know, having a superhero named Black Panther is considered offensive, and now Chadwick Boseman is like under a negative light. I don't know, but I want to say that's timeless.
So I feel like building something is a good legacy.
Building like what? Like
anything.
A structure.
A structure that could be like a building, like an actual building, or if you build like an organization, or you found like an organization,
material
right?
thing.
No, like what if you found like an organization. Like you found like a youth program or a mentorship program or a, you know, giving back to the community. Like if perfect example, right? Let's say you're one of those people, no kids, but your impact is you help recovering drug addicts, and now you have a building named after you.
Okay. Was
that not a phenomenal legacy to leave behind that a lot of people can actually obtain? And they'll be like, look at how great this guy was in 2157. They will still see your building. They'll still see your name. Oh, this guy
like the college campus buildings named after people.
This guy helped all these people out. He must have been a great man.
Did you ever think that?
What?
Like when you walked into like your college campus, like Wheatley and McCormack.
But those are just I don't know those guys. They just found the building for college.
Maybe they're named after like fantastic. We don't know. Maybe they had a history of like.
If you're going to a gym and the gym is named after like somebody, you can assume the person either founded the gym or they were a great athlete, right?
Right.
If you go to a track, let's look at Reggie Lewis, right? Reggie Lewis, great athlete. Bang. So I know I'm here. That's his legacy. I feel like there's ways. We can do this without kids. I do feel like there's a time though. If you are an only child, then yeah, you gotta have a kid. You gotta continue.
What?
You gotta continue the bloodline.
You gotta
continue the bloodline. All right. You gotta continue the bloodline.
So the bloodline is important to you.
The bloodline is important.
Why?
What do you think? It's your bloodline. It's your ancestry. Everything that comes before, you continue afterwards. I completely agree with you on that aspect. Right? Your bloodline. Important. You gotta pass down those genes from all who knows who started how long ago. You gotta keep going down, passing them down, fam. I used
to feel like that, and my view has been skewed. I don't want to say skewed, but it has been shifted by popular media that I've been consuming, right? So,
who has brainwashed you, fam?
No, all right. So here's what made me part of what made me reconsider, right?
Man, being brainwashed.
This is out of left field. Mortal Kombat. All right, it's a video game. It's not real. It's a video game. I just played the story for Mortal Kombat 11. The most popular character in Mortal Kombat, Scorpion, had his entire clan. That whole bloodline was just demolished, right, by Sub-Zero allegedly. His whole up until the latest game, his whole thing has been revenge on the extinguishment, or if that's a word, of his bloodline.
Yeah.
After he gets his revenge, he founded his clan again, but this time it's with people who weren't descended from the original bloodlines of his clan, right? And so he started training them. They had the same principles, the same followings, the same beliefs, everything.
Yeah.
Everything's going good. He's happy. Those are great. In Mortal Kombat 11, there was time traveling. And so the past Scorpion comes and he sees what the future Scorpion's doing. You're training these people as part of our family, as part of our clan, but they don't have the same bloodline. What the fuck are you doing? The future Scorpion, now wiser, you know what I'm saying? Had his revenge. He knows the truth now. He's like, it's not the blood that makes him Shirai Ryu. You know what I mean? It's the warrior spirit. It's the spirit.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's kind of dope.
It is dope. That's cool. That's cute. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What else did I see about that? It was, if you don't want spoilers for Star Wars, block your ears right now. All right? Fair warning. But at the end of Star Wars, right, when they find out who Rey really is, she adopted a new name, the Skywalker name. And that was how the Skywalker name got to be continued, because all the originals got killed off. But now it's still going on because of she adopting that name. And so that and other things made me realize, or made me think, maybe not realize, but made me think about maybe the bloodline isn't as important as we want it to be. Very
cute stories about Star Wars and Mortal Kombat, you know, very, very cute stories. I'm keeping that bloodline though. If you're the only child, bro,
it doesn't.
If you are the only child,
the blood isn't that.
You want to be the guy that stops the bloodline if you're the only child? All those people that come before you, be like, all right, now it's the end of our history. You want to be that guy? If you got siblings, at least, you know, there's other ones that can carry the bloodline. Like if you're an identical twin, you're blessed. You're blessed. You're like, I don't want to have kids. My brother can have kids. Same exact genes. We're good. Wonderful.
I understand the pressure.
Wonderful.
You know, there's an unbroken line from people from how many thousands BC to you, and now all of a sudden it's going to stop because of you.
Yeah.
I understand the pressure.
Don't be that. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. That stops the bloodline.
Hey man, not everyone's cut out to have kids. And if you're an only child and you have a lot of trauma, and you know that you're gonna be able, you know that if you have a child, there's no way without you first dealing with your trauma that you're not gonna put that into your child. Don't have kids.
Okay. Fair. You gotta heal yourself before you have kids.
Absolutely.
Not have kids.
What if you don't heal yourself in time? What if you're a woman? You're the only child. You're a woman, and now you're 40. By the time you get to make peace with your past, probably already went through menopause.
40's kind of early.
I know people who, you go through some early sometimes.
I feel like it's like late 40s, early 50s.
For most people. I know someone personally who went through menopause at like 32.
I feel that's very rare.
That might be, but that's the frame that I have right now. I have that exposure. So let's say you're 40.
Okay.
You went through menopause when you were 39, and you just now got healed. You're the only child. You can't be like, damn, I should have had a kid before I was healed.
No.
You know what I mean?
But
you shouldn't beat yourself up
knowing
like
that you're the only child, you gotta try to find ways to speed up that healing process.
You can't
speed up the healing process, but you have a little sense of urgency around you, fam. You can't wait till you're 40 to finally be like, I can have kids now. I feel like you got a little earlier, fam.
And who knows if you even realize that you have to heal before that.
I mean, that's true too.
You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah, that's true. But also, as millennials, you know, kind of broke.
Oh.
I say kind of, I mean like very. You know,
That's that's a big part of it.
like I
Like,
always
would you have kids if you had to take the bus still?
all right.
Growing up, I saw that all the time, and I saw the struggle that was.
Oh, bring the stroller on the bus.
Bringing the stroller on the bus.
And before the new buses came and you couldn't put the seats up.
Exactly.
Oh man, yeah, that was ugly.
Yo,
That was ugly.
Dad was like, yo,
was
I am not having kids if I have to take the bus. And sometimes it's unavoidable, sometimes it's not planned, and you know what I mean? That's fine.
Yeah,
but
man.
if you can help it, would you do that?
Man, see, I want to be shitting on people with kids and take the bus.
No, I'm saying sometimes you can't help it.
No, I mean,
And I'm sure if they had the choice, they wouldn't be doing
can't
that.
you kind of help having kids?
Not all the time. Sometimes the condom breaks, sometimes you're drunk, and unfortunately sometimes you're coerced, you're forced, whatever.
I mean, I feel
And
like
sometimes
that's
you're too
like,
young to know better. You know what I mean?
you can still not have the kid though, right?
Oh, you're talking about that.
Nah, I mean, like, there's other stuff before we go to the A word. I'm just saying. I'm not talking anything about the A word.
Yeah, it's not
Well, you know,
100% guaranteed though.
what, Plan B?
Yeah.
I thought Plan B was very effective.
If you do it at the right time, and if
Yeah.
you have the money for it,
Yeah,
it's
but
just like $50.
Yeah, he look at 70. This man talking about taking the bus. This man talking about taking the bus with kids. Talking about, you know what? He's talking about $50. Talking about having a kid versus $50, bro.
Amen. $50
Come on,
versus $275 for the bus
A
fare.
kid
Come on,
versus $50
Versus $275 for the bus fare.
every day on top of diapers, on top of food, on top
Yeah,
of
but
clothing,
that's
bro.
day to day though.
Yeah, stop. That's money. Yeah, exactly. Day to day, man. Come on, man. That's money. I don't know. It's always like people do say it's like irresponsible to have kids when you're poor.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I feel like, especially for people who want to have kids, you know, I feel like it's wrong to deprive people of having kids because they can't afford it. Like, I don't want to have kids if I can't afford it. Like, I don't want to have kids if I can't afford it. I do not want to have kids if I can't afford it. And I don't think anybody hypothetically should, but I feel like that's more of a problem with the overall, like, state of our affairs than it is with the individual person. Like, if you're too poor to have a kid, then what's that saying about, you know, the money situation around you? You know, some people can be really poor, but it's like, if it's that many people where it's like you're too poor to have kids, then what's that really saying about what's going on in the country?
Like, I kind of get what you mean. Like, if you're in the hood, and you know what I'm saying, like, everyone's poor, everyone's in poverty, and they're still having children.
Like, you shouldn't be ramping them out.
Right, but you shouldn't be deprived.
Exactly.
You shouldn't be robbed. Like, isn't that what? No, China's not for overpopulation, not for financial reasons, but at the same time, it's like buying a house. If you can't afford to do it yet, as much as you want it, it's gonna be a burden.
No.
It's gonna be a burden.
It's gonna be a burden, but a kid, like you're talking about a human being though.
Right, which is more of a burden.
It is more of a burden.
The needs are changing every single day.
But there's also there's elements of legacy, bloodline, you know, the fulfillment and joy of having children that many people tell you about.
People talk about the joy of home ownership. I'm not comparing having a house.
Bro, get out of here, bro. I'm about to kick you out, bro. No bullshit. This man, stop, bro. Stop.
All right,
Bro.
having it is not exactly the same. All right, but that is a burden that people often take on before they're ready to have to meet it. You know what I mean? I don't want to say if you're taking the bus, you never have children, right? Because you could be living in the city. You don't need a car. You can get everywhere you need to on a bus, right?
No, especially living in the city. Bus, train, Uber. I mean, like, think about all the places you need to go. Like, if you live in the city with a great transportation system, right? Which not many exist in the U.S., but let's play pretend. If you live in Boston,
Boston and New York,
you know, some of the cities that have like one of the world's best transportation systems, allegedly. You have trains that take you all throughout Greater Boston. You have 4 lines that take you all throughout Greater Boston. You have buses that take you plenty of places. You know, if I live in you know, Mattapan or Dorchester, I have access to, or Roxbury, or even Back Bay. I'm like 40 minutes. I'm at most 40 minutes away from supermarkets, hospitals, schools, banks.
No, I get
entertainment centers. Like why do I need a car or a train?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not shitting on the people.
No. I get the whole point. I get the whole point with you. So it's tough though.
What was I gonna say? The financial situation.
Yeah.
You will resent your child.
Ooh.
You will come to resent that child.
You think so?
I believe it. Actually,
I feel like there's people. See, I don't know. I have to ask somebody.
These damn kids. You know how many times I hear that, dog?
Yeah, but they don't. I don't think it's actual resentment. I think it's just people complaining though. Like, people always complain about shit, and you still love it. Like, you complain about your mom or your dad or your brothers or your girlfriend. You still love them, you know. I don't think I think there's situations. I think there's. All right, so let me narrow this down. I feel like there's people who've had kids that didn't want to have kids, and now they resent them. So this is
why did they not want to have kids? Like just because they didn't.
It could be for a multitude of reasons.
Okay.
Right. So let's say like not ready, too early in their life.
Okay.
They don't have a career yet. Whatever the situation is, right? They're not married yet. You know, there's multiple reasons why people don't want to have kids.
Right.
So, say we're guys, we could relate from the male perspective. We do not want to have kids, and we have a kid that we do not want to have. It will likely be ugly. I feel like it'll be ugly. I'm not escaping. I'm not like saying it's okay to be a deadbeat dad or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that's where the resentment comes from. Not from necessarily the financial burden. I feel like if you don't want to have the kid and you have the kid, that's where it's ugly.
But if you want to have a kid, but you know, or you feel like you might not have the finances for it, but you have it anyways, then you would just be mad about the money, but you wouldn't be mad at the kid. No,
I don't think you'd be mad at the kid. I think there'll be times where you have regret.
No, you like I'm saying, you won't be mad at the kid. You just be mad about the money.
Yeah, you're not gonna be like, damn. It was like, damn. It's gonna be like, damn. I wish I didn't have this kid. But you're gonna be like, I love my kid, but I'll never trade him for the world. I feel like that's what happens. Right. I know some people. Who
maybe I'm just talking like personally. Like if I knew that I did not have the finances to have a kid, and then I was like, you know what? Let me just take this chance and have it. Things will work out in the end.
So let's play a hypothetical game with Khelil. You have no job.
No. That's not even. It's not even remotely possible. Let's say I have a low-paying job.
Times are tough. We're in a pandemic right now, fam.
I would not even think about having a kid if I'm unemployed.
Let's say you didn't plan on having this kid.
Okay.
But then, whoever it was, your girlfriend, a lady friend, a mistress, whatever, right? So you're in between jobs. We'll call it, right?
Okay.
In between jobs. It could be your girlfriend, your wife. Friends with benefits, random Tinder hookup, you know, whatever it could be.
I don't do that.
And she found out she's pregnant. The condom broke, or she missed her birth control pills, or whatever, or you're just the 0.001 chance of just the shit not working, right?
And it's not one of her, women. I think it's cute if I scare him type pranks. She's actually pregnant.
All right. Those people go to hell. But
she's actually pregnant.
Yeah, she's actually pregnant, right?
Lord of mercy.
And for religious or moral reasons, she's keeping the kid. I feel like that's the situation. Well, like, will you hate the kid or will you resent the baby mama? Like, you know what I'm saying? Will you?
I wouldn't resent anyone. That's just bad luck.
No, you are not gonna be looking at that as bad luck, bro. You're not. Especially when
if I made the choice to have sex and she made the choice to have sex and we end up having a baby unexpectedly, I'm not blaming nobody.
You're not. I'm not saying no. This is not about blame. This is about your feelings, about resentment and frustration and anger and regret. I feel like you said, talking about resenting the kid. I feel like that's the only time where it'd be like, yo, I can't stand this kid. Now I'm on child support, or now I'm on fatherhood duties 7 days out of 7. I never wanted to be a father right now.
We're talking about personal, right? This is what I would do, right? Not what I think the general consensus is.
Yeah. Well,
personally, I would say I wouldn't resent the baby mom. I wouldn't resent the kid. I'm like, this wasn't planned, but it's happening. I think creating life is a beautiful thing. If you don't want to keep the baby, I would want her to keep the baby, actually. I respect it. I'll be in the kid's life. I'll do what I can.
Respect.
I wouldn't resent the kid for that. I feel like...
So would you resent yourself for that?
No. Shit happens.
Shit does happen.
Right.
But I feel like there's shit that happens when you're so mad and you're so upset about it. It's like not going to be...
Yeah, that's if shit happens that I didn't make a choice about. Like if I got hit by a drunk driver. You know what I mean? Like that shit I would get mad about. But if I
made
made the choice,
but you made the choice and took all the precautions, and it still happened.
Oh, I did take precautions.
Yes, like I said, like you could be wearing a condom, and you're like the unlucky 0.001%.
Oh, I mean that still shit happens. That's not.
Yeah, but that's you taking the precautions. Though. Like, you're saying,
Right.
like, if things happen, or like the birth control didn't work, or you were deceived about birth control, or something like that.
I
like,
still wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. No. That's not the type of shit happens that I'll be mad at.
I'm confused.
The shit that happens that I'll be mad at is like if the shit that happens is due to someone else's negligence or just don't care attitude or just like callousness. Like if you got in a car while you were drunk and then you kill somebody that I know, that's not just shit happens.
No, it's not.
But
of course.
if I'm using a condom that was thought to be made and packaged correctly and then it just happened to break like they sometimes do, then that's just shit happens.
What about the shit happens like if they miss their birth control?
Like if they forgot?
Yeah. this guy looking at me like that, bro. You got concerned look on your face, man. Hope you're not gonna kill nobody. I hope you're not, man.
She forgot to take the birth control and she still has sex unprotected.
You could have been with this person for like a few months, many months, or was it friend with benefits or whatever, you know.
You can't see my hands under the table, but what's that? You know the Arthur meme with the fist. Yeah, I'll be mad. I wouldn't resent the child, but I'll be mad at that.
You know, I had this person I know that said he understands situations. Like we've seen many times where, like, you know, parents of kids don't get along.
Yeah.
And there's hatred between the two.
Yeah.
And he openly admitted to, like, he'd be a deadbeat dad if that was the case. Like, openly, like, proudly admitted, oh, yeah, if they move to California, you know, and me and the girl don't get along, then, yeah. I'm just not going to be
Oh, no, I think you told me about that. The premeditated deadbeat, right?
Yeah. I feel like, you know.
I feel like that's rare.
Rare?
I want to say that's rare. I know, was he a black man? He was a boy. He wasn't a man. He was a boy.
At the risk of perpetuating stereotypes, I am not going to say it. All right? I'm not going to say it.
What do you think it would take to know for sure that you are not ready to have children?
You don't want children. That's it. I know I'm not ready for children because I don't want children.
I'm not talking about if you don't want them, if you're not ready for them.
If you don't want them, you're not ready.
Right, but let's say you want them eventually, but you don't feel like you're ready yet. How do you know?
That's a great question.
How do you know?
Will you ever know?
Because like I feel like even if I had a great career,
yeah,
if I had all the money and babysitters and family members in the world, I feel like, do I still want it?
I feel like it's a pros and cons thing, right? You outline the sacrifice you'll have to make, and you'll realize if what you're sacrificing for
is
the
worth
joy that it will potentially give you is worth it. Because there's no way to guarantee the joy's gonna be worth it. You know, like I want to have kids. I want my kids to play sports. I want to be like, you know, continue the athletic legacy that my family has.
It's like religion.
Right? Yeah. And then you find out this kid one day is like, yo, Dad, I don't like basketball. Or
wait, is that a fear of yours?
Or football. Oh, my kid's not playing football. Or soccer. I don't like soccer. Or basketball. Or tennis.
I want to ask you about that.
Right? And he comes up and he's like, yeah, I don't like any of those things. I don't want to do any of that stuff.
What does he want to do? He wants to be a streamer? He wants to be a... No, you're a musician. You play piano. What if he wants to be an artist?
Talk to a cameraman. I'm perfectly fine with that.
No, I mean like a painter.
I appreciate the fine arts, man.
Okay.
I'm a photographer.
So there's nothing your child could do that would...
If this guy's coming up to me, right, I'm saying, one of my reasons for I want kids is I want to teach them everything about the game of basketball and soccer that I know. I want to play with them. I'm someone to go one-on-one with and all these type of things, right? That kids do with their parents. Right? I played basketball with my dad and my older brother. I want to do that with my kids and carry that down, right?
It's cute.
And dude tell me he doesn't play basketball. Like I might just lock him in the cage and be like, yo.
You know that would be your fault though.
Tell me when you're ready to come play basketball again.
No, it wouldn't be your fault.
I'm like, yo, like, take your time out. Come talk to me tomorrow.
You're a sick guy.
And I'll see you on the court. Right? But that's a reason why I want to have kids. There's no time. There's no
telling what your legacy would be.
Yeah, and there's no way to know if that joy from that is worth you sacrificing. Like if you're a guy who goes out every weekend with your boys and you love the life you live, there's no telling what's the trade off's gonna be. There's no telling. There's no way to know. It's like you can't calculate that. You're calculating the risk, right? So if you're tired of doing all that stuff,
then it's like you're not losing anything.
Yeah, maybe like I'm ready to settle down.
Yeah,
maybe I'm ready to do. Even guys I thought would never settle down have finally settled down.
Eventually they do, and I feel like
and some don't though. Some don't. Some just keep living that playboy lifestyle that they want to live. Which is nothing wrong with that. I mean, you're living your life for you, which is what you should do. You come first. You literally come first. That's another thing too, right? You have kids.
You don't come first no more.
You don't come first no more.
No, you literally living your life for other people.
That don't sound that fun.
That's what love is.
I don't know about that.
No,
man.
that's what love is.
You have a girl.
Devotion.
You have a guy. If you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend,
that's a
or
different
whatever,
type of love.
Man.
That's romantic love. I'm talking unconditional love. And I feel like the only unconditional love, the only time unconditional love exists is between parent and child.
Parent to child or child to parent?
Parent to child.
Parent to child. All right. Fair.
I know some parents are shitty. They resent their children and all that stuff. But the only time unconditional love could exist, it cannot exist between husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. It's only between parent and child, right? And once you hold that baby, you're gonna want to live for them. Like I can feel that coming. I can honestly feel that coming, bro. I haven't had any kids yet.
What if you just hold the kid and it's like, damn, that's it?
No, what? Your wife just delivered the baby. She's still on the table, breathless, crying, and you're holding that little tiny human being that is half of you. It's half of you and the person you love most in the world, ideally, right?
Ideally, yeah.
And it's helpless, it's defenseless. You know that if you leave it here, it will die. Its entire existence depends upon you. And all you want is to make sure that existence is as happy and as long-lasting as possible. I can feel that coming. And at that point, you're going to want to live for them.
You don't think there's ever been people that just had the kid and it's like, damn, it's not what I thought it would be?
I don't think so.
I mean, listen, most people say what you say, and I agree with you that I'll probably be on your boat, but
I don't think anyone would hold a baby that they just created, especially if they're at the hospital. I feel like that would change people.
You know, in more religious cultures, right, there are like these cases of like shotgun weddings and, you know, you got my shotgun wedding, anyone doesn't know, was the old, like, literally like, you got my daughter pregnant, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm coming to you and like, yo, you're marrying my daughter. And the whole shotgun thing is like, it's like, yo, you're marrying my daughter. There's no question.
Or else I'm gonna shoot you with a shotgun.
Yeah, there's no like that. But that's where the term shotgun wedding comes from. It's like that's
okay.
So that's like the type of thing. Like you see that all the time. Maybe not necessarily shotgun weddings, but you see people have kids and then they get engaged right afterwards because they feel like they have to be married to have the kids.
Yeah, you don't want babies out of wedlock.
It's slippery, man. Like I just feel like as like and the thing is, it's not just millennials, but it's like every generation that comes after is like the birth rate is going down, right? As countries get more industrialized and more first worldly, I'll call it, their birth rate goes down. Like in some places it's so low, like Japan, where it's not at a replenish rate, where like people are not having enough kids to replace the population.
Right, so the population is declining.
Right?
Yeah.
And Japan could be like there's other factors obviously, but across most countries, right? Birth rate goes down over time if it's industrialized.
Right.
So I feel like that's also a factor. And that could be because of money, it could be because of happiness, it could be because of responsibility. But I feel like so real quick, one thing I want to do though, I feel like there's like a stigma behind not wanting to have kids. Right? If someone told you they don't want to have kids, especially for a woman, I know women go through this a lot.
Absolutely for women.
Like women go through this a lot. Where they're like, I don't want to have kids, and people look at you like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, motherhood's the best thing ever,
and they feel like it's a phase. Like, you're gonna grow out of it. You're just too young. You're gonna realize that eventually that you want that. I
thought so too. I remember there was this one girl I used to talk to in college. She was like, she didn't want to have kids. That was the first time I ever heard someone like any girl I talked to ever say that. I was like, oh damn, really? She's like, nope, don't want them.
And
she's still holding firm to that position.
Yeah. Did you feel like at the time, like when she got older, she would change her mind?
Yeah, I remember having this conversation. But I was like, oh yeah, you say that now, but like when you get older, you're probably like, you know, you want to have kids. And she's like, nope, still in the same exact way.
You don't feel like that stigma comes from what you were saying though about continuing the bloodline?
But it's way more pressurized on women though. It's way more because there's also the thing about like motherhood and the joys of being pregnant and all that stuff.
Motherhood is said to be so joyful and stuff like that, but I know you're not a big horror movie fan, but a lot of horror movies, the subject of the horror is motherhood.
That is.
Like dead ass is actually mother. It's like a mother who is having trouble with her son, and so the son accidentally kills his sister and shit like that. Like, you know, a mother who is trying to find the right home for her baby, but you know the child is really difficult and stuff. They end up going to a haunted house and shit. Yeah. Motherhood is often at the forefront of horror movies for some reason, and I don't think it's just for some reason. I think it's for a very, very real reason, and it's because motherhood is difficult. That shit is not made for everybody.
It's not made for everybody.
And you can try your best. Yeah. You can try your best and still fail at it miserably, and it's not even your fault. And that's the subject of the horror movies. Like, you can try your absolute best and end up killing your children.
But all right, I'm gonna take it to like an extreme example, right? But maybe not too extreme because it's very relatable. When we talk about woman, right, and what it means to be a woman, what's the argument you always hear? They have periods, you know, they freaking can have kids.
Right.
You know, it's like, I feel like there's so much of this pressure is like, of being a woman is like.
Fertility and having children.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's probably back in the old days.
No, it is, but it's still current now, though. You still feel the effects of it now.
Yeah, people and that's just something that hasn't gone away yet.
Like, these women still feel pressure to have children because of everything around them. Everyone's talking about motherhood and how like people like father, people talk about father, but it's not even close to the motherhood.
Back in the day, dudes would leave their wives, and that's still happening now for children. Back in the like when you needed an heir, you know what I mean? If your wife couldn't produce any offspring, and you needed an heir, specifically a son, like you would just keep having sex with women until you find one that would give you a son.
100%.
And that's why having children, I feel like, was so important.
Who was that? King Henry? That was wilding?
Yeah, I listened to our old episode about science versus religion when Kaio said that. I think it was King Henry who created a whole new sect of religion.
Or might have been King James. I think it was King Henry though.
He created a whole new sect of religion that he could bypass the Pope.
Dude was wilding out. Like six marriages, like killed two of his wives because just couldn't get.
I didn't know all that. I just thought he wanted to marry someone else.
Nah, I just keep like two of them. It's one of those old European kings.
I'm sure there could be a horror movie about one of those wives.
Probably is.
You know what I mean?
It probably is.
Yeah, like motherhood. You know, I was watching a show the other day, and it was about magic users and stuff like that. And your firstborn got the most of your magics. They were the most powerful, and that was the person that you handed on the family crest to, like to be your successor. This dude, his wife had 2 children, both of them very powerful. And he's like, it's not my fault that my wife was superior breeding stock, so now I gotta get rid of one of them. I was like, what did you just say? And that's how people used to look at women. He said, it's not my fault that my wife was superior breeding stock. It's just crazy. And now I feel like remnants of that is carrying over to today, where you're looked at differently if you're not shown to be fertile, if you're not shown to be nurturing, if you're not shown to be...
Yeah.
Because how would you know, you have these qualities, nurturing and, supportive, and you can cultivate life. And when that's a big part of being a woman, bringing life into the world. That's literally you're the only one of us who can do that. And so people make you feel like that's your responsibility to do that. And that goes back to one of the conversations we had before, actually, when we were like, if you had a specific type of superpower, are you beholden to using that for the good of other people, even if you don't want to? Like, if you were fireproof, do you have to be a fireman?
Oh, hell no.
You know what I mean? Like, if you can have babies, does that mean you have to have babies just because you're the only ones who can? You know what I mean?
Oh. I mean, all right.
It goes back to that. If you had a specific superpower,
but no,
is it your responsibility to use it?
Different.
Is it?
Different, yeah.
Is it though?
Imagine if everyone could have babies like nobody was doing it.
If everyone could have babies but nobody was doing it?
Then you have like a population where it's everyone just dies.
Wait, hold on. Say that again.
All the ones like I can have babies, but I don't want to, so I'm not going to.
No, but they don't feel like it's their responsibility to. I'm sure there's some people who fireproof who don't want to be firemen. Like, yeah, that's dope. I can do that shit.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's what it should be. I feel
if
like
I'm fireproof and I don't become a firefighter, then some people will die that I could have potentially saved.
And are you then worthless? If the thing that you're best at, right? If the thing that you specifically can do and no one else can do as well as you, or even do it at all, and you just choose not to, and it was for the good or for the furtherment of humanity, and you just didn't do it, would you be?
Because this is a group thing, though. It's not. You're not worthless if you don't have kids. It's just a group thing. It's a group thing, right? I don't have kids. My sister has kids. My friend has kids. We're good. We're not gonna die. Everyone's here.
But you wouldn't feel like you're not living up to your potential if you had that power and you just weren't using it.
My potential is not tied to my fertility.
No, I know that. I'm trying to think of like how some people will still be like, why aren't you having kids?
Yeah.
And that might come from like you have the potential to do this, but you're just not using it.
Yeah. No, I just feel like it's more just pressure to have kids.
If I could fly and I'm like, I'm just gonna walk everywhere.
I feel like it's part of being. I feel like people just they just continue to just see women as like childbearers.
But then again, you're fireproof, but that doesn't mean you have the next 25 years of your life. You have to live for something else. You can go to work and come home. You know what I mean? So it is different.
Like, will you ever come to a point where it's like I want with something else before me?
Yeah. You ever had pets?
Yeah.
You wouldn't die for your pets?
I love my pets.
I had a couple dogs I'd die for. If the house was burning down and it was either get the dog out or me run out myself, I would hate to think of my dog burning to death.
Oh. I mean, I always try to say my dog or my cat.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, I feel like because of that, I feel like I would put something else's needs before mine.
I don't know. Pets are kind of tough.
Are they, though?
Yeah.
You never saw that meme that said, be careful who you date? Treat, like, first dates as interviews for your future dog parent?
I mean, that's funny and cute. But, I mean, it's just tough, man.
So, what's the burden? Are kids the best type of legacy that we can leave behind?
I mean, I feel like should millennials or anybody else feel bad for not wanting to have kids? I feel like that should be.
That's the question.
Yeah, I feel like that should be the question. Like, do people even need a justification for not having kids? Like, if I don't have kids, like, fuck you, I won't have kids.
You shouldn't have to explain it.
Yeah,
but I mean, that's for decades into the future. We're not there yet.
Yeah, like saying to you, like, people tell you they don't want to drink. It's like
that's different.
Is it?
That's different.
I mean, I feel it's the same kind of thing. Bro, if you tell someone you don't want to drink, right? And you're like, oh, why? Why don't you? Not that you don't want to drink. It's that you don't drink, right? They're like, why? Oh, why don't you want? What happened? Did anything happen? Did you have a history of alcoholism? Did you have a bad experience? Like, it's like.
That's not the same as saying I don't want to have kids, though.
No, I'm saying you don't always do the explanation. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Right? That's what I'm saying. Right? It's like you don't owe anybody.
In that regard, I agree.
Now I want to have kids. It's like, yo, fuck you. It's my life.
But it's also,
And if I want to keep that same mentality, fuck you, it's my life. I can't keep that mentality if I have kids because it's not like, oh man, it's me, but it's also,
that kid that you could have could potentially be the next president. You know what I mean?
They'll be president regardless.
Yeah, but your kid could have been the president better than the one that we are gonna get if he's not. You know what I mean? Imagine if there's a baby who would have been born, but the woman was like, nah, chill. So we got Trump, or we got Biden, or we got whoever else. You know what I mean?
How do we get here? How do we get here?
Or he could be the doctor who cures cancer. Let's stay with the political stuff. You can't say cancer's gonna get cured regardless. We don't know that for sure.
Should anybody feel bad or pressure for not wanting to have kids? That's my question.
I want to know if kids are the best type of legacy that we can have. That's my thing, and that bloodline question is pretty. Man, that's still something I'm thinking about.
All you gotta do is think about Schindler, right? Schindler's List. Freed all those Holocaust potential victims.
Yeah, those children. That's his legacy now. It's not his bloodline, but those are children that he put himself before.
He was saving grown people too.
Yeah, but wasn't it mostly about the children?
It was just about saving everybody.
I'm probably thinking about somebody else. It was some cute. It was before we end this. It was a clip, and it was this guy who was saving children from the Holocaust, and he was invited onto a show, and he didn't know that every audience member in the show were the kids that he saved.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah.
And then and then the show was actually in dedication to him.
Yeah.
And then when he found out, like everyone just rose up and started clapping for him. It was like he was an old dude, and these people like in their 30s, 40s, and they all stood up and started clapping. Like the whole audience of the kids that he saved.
Damn.
And that's the dope ass legacy.
That's a crazy legacy right there, bro.
You can't beat that with Amazon. That's better than Amazon to me.
You know what?
I'm gonna say that.
We were just wrapping this episode up, but now I might have one more question, and we might have to talk about it. What if your kid can't live up to your legacy?
He is the legacy.
No. If you're like perfect example, right? We talked about this earlier. If you're Michael Jordan's kid and finds out you trash at basketball, think about that level of inferiority you feel for the rest of your life.
Honestly, I would rather not even try to play basketball because
Yeah,
you're gonna be in your father's shadow the entire time.
You would be, but you don't have to be as great as your father, but for continuous legacy of basketball excellence. Like a good example is Tim Hardaway, great NBA player, and Tim Hardaway Jr., a very good NBA player, right?
My example
both make it to the NBA. They're both at the top 0.1% of basketball players have long careers, right? Tim Hardaway Jr. has been in the league probably like 5, 6, 7 years now. His father was in the league, all-star, right? You don't have to be as great as your dad.
Right, but I feel like that would be proud regardless of what he did with his life. I don't feel like his dad would have been disappointed.
But you always want the kids to rise past the parent. And sometimes people are just so successful that it's not even a possibility. Like I said, uber successful people have kids. Like if you're Michael Jordan, bro, and your kid decides to play basketball and he's trash, everyone else gonna make him feel like shit, and you know that. It's 100% a fact.
That's why I wouldn't try it.
But you gotta continue your legacy, though.
No, but you can. I don't feel like in that situation, Michael Jordan's legacy is basketball, not the child. You can be Michael Jordan and have a child, and that child can go on to be an inventor of some crazy useful device. That's still a legacy that was lived up to.
All right. Nonetheless, let's wrap this up. Back to the original question: should you feel pressured or bad for not having kids, or for not wanting to have kids? I should say.
Right. And my question is, what type of legacy is there that's better than children? The closest thing I can think of is art, movies, music. That's talents that's not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. Unless something crazy happens, an EMP or whatever. But
nonetheless, Opinion Factory Podcast. Find us on Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to the podcast. If you like this podcast, be sure to give the video a thumbs up. Mm-hmm. Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
It takes 2 seconds. Help us out a lot.
Share the audio with your friends, family. And we will see y'all
next week.